you can't just use spotlights to build the lighting in a scene, because as you can see, I've directed my spotlights onto these objects. Now if I needed the floor to also receive lighting beyond the edges of these spotlights, I have to use another type of light, and it's called an Omni light. They're very easy to use. We've discussed them earlier. It's very basic. It's simply place and then move it to where you need it. Now how Omni light works is it emits light from a point out in every direction, and the light only affects the positive faces that are facing it. So now if we render this, we'll see that I'm getting a lot of light out here and I'm getting light down here. My overall shadows have lightened. The top of my objects are a lot brighter. I'm getting a much brighter highlight on my sphere, and the floor is also a lot brighter. Okay, so that's the basic use of an Omni light. I found though to get decent effects with an Omni light, the further I can get it away from my objects, the better, because that means the light coming from this particular Omni light will be hitting in a more parallel direction onto the objects. And there you can see that I've actually lifted that light up and I'm getting more light again out on the edges, and we should get more lights down here in the corners as well. And that was simply from lifting the Omni light higher so that it's allowing more light from the Omni light to hit the surface of my objects. I've also found that usually more than one Omni light is required. This scene's very simple because of the way I've laid it out. Now if it was a more complex scene, so if I were to add a few more objects to this, say a wall here and a wall here, and I'm just using very basic boxes, I'm going to use the same material I used on the floor on the walls, like so. Now if I render this, okay, what you'll notice is I'm getting a fairly dark wall considering the light that's hitting the top of these objects. Now that's because the Omni light is so high up that the light can't hit the positives of these boxes. So what I need to do now is to move my Omni light so that that light is not only hitting the surface of the boxes, but it's also hitting the surface of the walls to give just a little bit more light. And if you watch in your shaded view, you'll see as I move the Omni light around, the view will update to show me what's going on there, like so. So it's not a very hard technique to take an Omni light and to manipulate it into giving you a little bit more atmosphere in your scene. What I'm going to show you now is the shader. We spoke about this earlier, right at the beginning of the CD. If I turn on the ActiveShader, it will generate a shade solution and it will show me what this view is going to look like. And every time I modify a light or a material, the shader will automatically update to show me the result. So it's a very quick way, without rendering, of manipulating my lights and materials and seeing the result. So the shader is quite a useful tool. Okay, that's all we're going to do on lighting. The best thing you can do with lighting is an experiment. If you're not happy with the result, play with it, because it won't take much for you to get a result that you're happy with. And we might go into some more advanced lighting techniques in the next CD in this series.